With all our hearts, we pray and ask. God bless Anambra. God bless the shining light that we bear. We're the only ones to make her brighter, the only ones to make her better, the only ones to make Anambra shine. With our sweat and blood, every breath of our lives, with trust in God, we will lift our homeland high. We believe in togetherness, we'll build a land of progress. Lift the spirit of Anambra, lift the spirit of Anambra, lift the spirit of Anambra, states we love.
For years, it was nothing but a mirage, a pie in the sky, a wishful thought, a perpetual political promise that was no sooner made than broken. Successive administrations used it as an ultimate tool to toy with the emotions of the people. Almost every election season, they raised the people's hopes with it, only to crush those hopes once the votes were in the box. Successive administrations failed to see the importance of it on the economy of the Southeast, the South-South zones, and the economy of the entire federation. But the story changed when President Muhammadu Buhari stepped in. He gave his word on the bridge and swiftly moved to keep it.
The fact infrastructure is gone, and you see the effort we are making about the second Niger bridge and the number of complex roads we are making throughout the southeast.
And today, a visit to the site of the second Niger bridge gladdens the heart of Nigerians who, following trends in the past, had lost hope in the actualization of the project.
Approximately 6 weeks ago, myself, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we all visited the site of the second Niger bridge. We started from the Asaba end and also got through to the Anambra end. I must tell you, I was very impressed with the level of work that has been shown so far, considering the fact that the mobilization was done shortly before the election. These guys are doing great work, and I believe the footages that will follow this will show clearly that that work is going on well. Engineer Frederick, the German that is in charge of that side, promised that this bridge, the second Niger bridge, will be delivered in February of 2022, and the federal government has reassured that there's funding for this structure. I'm very impressed about that reassurance. So I'm helping to stabilize and manage the community relations around the bridge to make sure that there's no disruption of work.
The age-long conclusion that the concept was a mere political gimmick deployed by governments in power to hoodwink the people of the Southeast for selfish electoral gains in the prevailing political party has disappeared with the appearance of the pillars that will support the beams of the second Niger bridge.
I think first of all, we have to thank the federal government for finally getting construction started for the second Niger bridge. We know that the thinking, the planning and discussion has traversed several administrations of the federal government. So definitely we're grateful. We're happy construction has started. And from all indications, construction is going on in earnest. When you're building a bridge, I think the initial investment is the foundation. People don't see what's going on. But now, people can see what's going on physically. If you're driving on the road, you can see that what is going on. And our prayer simply is that the government doesn't relent, that they continue to fund the project until completion, because of the economic impact that definitely will bring to bear on the whole country, not just the Southeast, not the Midwest or the Delta State area, the whole country. benefit very effectively. So, so far so good.
The humming of construction equipment and diligence of workers as they burrow through the bowels of the Niger, piling heavy concrete pillars preparatory to throwing beams to create alternative passage across the river, have restored the people's faith in government. The enormity of work in progress at the site of the bridge allays fears that the government of the day might just be rehashing the tradition of ensnaring the people using the bridge as bait. Indeed, the speed of work on the construction site suggests that the project could be delivered earlier than 2022 stipulated in the contract. This positive act has earned the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari, great respect from the people of the Southeast and Nigerians whose views about government have started to change as they now see government as an institution that keeps its promise to work for the overall well-being of the people.
We had several administrations in Nigeria that play politics with the Second Niger Bridge. I drove past the Niger Bridge a week ago going to Ekiti State, and it's almost done. You know, the pillars are almost over in Onitsha, which shows that the federal government is very, very serious about constructing that bridge, and that the company building it, Julius Berger, is doing a marvelous job in building that bridge. It's something that will help the Southeasterners. You know, this axis is where everybody travels through, whether you're from Port Harcourt to River State or Imo State, Anambra, going to Lagos and those coming back. And it's now being done, and the Anambra people and indeed the whole of the Southeast are very grateful. I'm personally happy that the President is doing it, and I'm happy that politics is now put aside, and finally Southeasterners will breathe a sigh of relief.
Indeed, any Nigerian who finds his or herself near the construction site of the bridge can testify that President Buhari meant his campaign promise when he assured Nigerians that he would build the second Niger bridge. Many people who doubted Mr. President's good intentions and who had dismissed his promise as a desperate effort to win votes from the people of Southeast have now seen that President Buhari is a man of his words.
I must tell you, in as much as we are very grateful to the federal government, to Mr. President, we're also very, very grateful to our own governor, who has been pushing, the federal government to know that we are part of this country. I will give it to the federal government. They've done quite a good job, but we still need more. There's few things, like the Onitsha seaport. If they can create that with the Niger, that would congest Lagos.
It is also interesting to see that President Buhari is not only committed to the second Niger bridge, he is also keenly interested in fixing the large portions of the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway which have been abandoned for many decades. In particular, the Umunya axis of this all-important federal highway has been a nightmare for travelers who are mostly traders, who visit the huge market in Onitsha for shopping. Most of these traders come from different parts of the country and beyond, and must pass through the deplorable Umunya axis of the highway on the journey. But years of neglect of the road means that so many livelihoods have been ruined and many entrepreneurs frustrated by the ordeal they have to go through to transport their wares from Onitsha to other parts of the country.
If you can remember, a lot of things has happened between that Umunya axis, because I think it's the worst road whatsoever. Most of the time we get casualties from that the tanker fell off on that road. There are a couple of other accidents, but now, it comes out at least beginning to feel that we are part of this federal government.
Indeed, there can be no overemphasizing the economic importance of the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway.
Like I told the President, they've stone-pitched slightly over 9 kilometers of that road, and they've asphalted thoroughly about 4.5 kilometers. The rain has come, and they just wait for the weather. They continue stone pitching and what have you, So I am convinced that, again, in no time, one side of the entire stretch of that road would have been done. Again, that's a plus, for Anambra State. because we're the gateway, to the east, and very many people all over the world pass through Anambra to go to various places through the first Niger bridge. Now they will do so through the second Niger bridge.
Residents who live around the area and travelers alike are very appreciative to the federal government for the intervention, which they see as a way of complementing the efforts of Governor Willie Madabrojukwuobiano's government in constructing and maintaining urban and rural roads across the length and breadth of Anambra State.
Well, that's a very big relief to us. That road has been like a nightmare for ages, over 20-something years now. All we've been getting is just promising. But this time around, this worked like a magic. I must tell you that as far as I know, of federal roads in Anambra, this is the best I've seen so far.
I'm very, very happy about the road because we don't take away with we don't know how to work the road. But now they are serious on it. And I'm expecting that they are going to complete the road because it still remains down there to work. Yes. The little one we didn't do, I'm very, very happy.
I am very, very happy because today now, if the road ends up, at least I'll be enjoying on the road because we have been spending money. Even now, I'm on mechanic, working my motor. At least if the road is through, at least I'll be happy. It has been long. The government has been looking over and into it, and we have been praying for government to know what they can do. But at least Buhari do something by remember us by building the road for us. So we thank him for that.
We've been praying a long time so that let the government see what they can do about this, and we thank God. With the exception of this new regime, they brought in this RCC, and the road, in fact, it's a very marvelous work. It's been a very marvelous work. Look at it. Basically here, the predominant job is farming, and they find it very difficult during rainy season. The flood will cover everyone, but now that the road has been constructed, look at gutter here, so there will be easy drainage, very easy drainage. Flood will just come and go, and the farmers will have easy way of going to their farm.
They look forward to a glide through Awka, the state capital, where the construction along the Umunyere axis will seamlessly blend with the inherent beauty of the governor's 3 impressive flyovers. The reconstruction of the stretch of the same highway from Amobia to Amansi by the Obiano administration has given the state capital a super urban appeal, with the 3 flyovers gleaming in the city skyline. It represents Governor Obiano's well-timed intention to nudge the Federal Ministry of Works into taking the reconstruction of the Umunyere axis of the road more seriously.
So most of these 8 federal roads in Anambra State are very bad. But I'm happy that at least they are working on one now. Hopefully, with the motivation that will come with success to see from what they are doing, they'll be able to revisit the remaining ones.
The synergy between the federal government and Anambra State government on the maintenance of road infrastructure has led to Governor Obiano's crucial interventions that saved some major portions of federal roads in the state from total collapse. Such interventions could be found at the foot of the flyover at Mpo, where erosion, landslide was almost cutting the expressway and rendering the very busy road impassable, just as the threatened Okija axis of the Onitsha-Owerri Express Road was saved from total collapse. These mediations cost the state government funds well over 40 billion naira, which could be spent on rebuilding other federal roads in the state if the money were to be refunded.
As we get reimbursement for the federal roads we did, on my own, I will fix some of the roads under proper agreement that those monies will come back, because it will motivate state governors everywhere to be able to put money in federal government projects. If money is put down there that the state would have used to do some other things are not reimbursed, that won't go well with the motivation to be able to do more, to keep the things going. So first, I'm grateful that it's being considered for payment, and that will go a long way in helping what we're doing.
And the conference center, administrative building, commissioned by Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on this day, the 24th of January, 2019. Thank you very much.
It would also be recalled that it took President Buhari to finally honor the great Zik of Africa by giving him a befitting resting place after his mausoleum had been abandoned for 23 years by successive administrations. It had looked totally strange and unbelievable that the great Zik of Africa, who had invested his entire life in the struggle to free Nigeria and the rest of Black Africa from colonialism and Western imperialism, would be abandoned by his countrymen and women in death. But President Buhari had gone about the construction of a befitting mausoleum for him silently and had successfully delivered it in January this year to the applause of many discerning Nigerians who felt happy that the foremost Nigerian hero had finally been given the dignity he deserved.
This is meant to honor the memory of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the Owele of Onitsha, the great Zik of Africa, and Nigeria's first president and one of her foremost nationalists. As I reflected on Zik's life and all of what he achieved, I acknowledge that Zik does not need this house. It is we who need Zik's name to give this house a meaning. I acknowledge that Zik's name is also everywhere in Nigeria, including the airport in Abuja, because Zik chose not to limit himself to the place of his birth, Zungeru. He had no choice. Rather than Zik choosing to be a local, he chose to be a nationalistic. He embraced all the vast territory of Nigeria. My hope and expectations are that this building will be a reminder to all of us of the best values that Zik espoused in knowledge, service, and leadership.
Today is a very important day in the history of our country, Nigeria, and in the narrative of our dear Anambra State. On a personal level, I have looked forward to this day with joy and fulfillment. Today, my heart is filled with joy and laughter, and I feel fulfilled that the great Owele of Onitsha is finally given the dignity he deserves in death. I am happy that with the commissioning of this magnificent mausoleum, Nine Owele can now rest with the full honor and dignity and that befit a statesman of his stature. Your Excellency, the President, ladies and gentlemen, this mausoleum took 23 years to construct. So many past administrations played politics with it, making empty promises that they didn't keep. But President Buhari has shown that he's a man of his word. He has completed the mausoleum as he promised, and now the great Zik of Africa, the most distinguished of Nigeria's founding fathers, has been finally given a befitting resting place. We must thank Mr. President for this. It is gratifying to finally see the true meaning of the line in our national anthem that says, I quote, "The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain," unquote.
It's a library and a conference center. And the idea is to bring people to Onitsha, to Anambra State, to meet, to discuss, and to see what is there. So the next stage is to make the facility there operational. Once the board of trustees put in place, a board of knowledgeable people, we also suggested to Mr. President, and he said he was happy with it, that an Onitsha indigene, knowledgeable, should be on the board, and a member of the Azikiwe family should be on the board. And I think with that, we can play the national, the international, but also the local indigenous level to make it a holistic situation. And Zik's library is fantastic. It's mostly at Nsukka. We have to move it down to Onitsha. His personal paraphernalia as a chief for Onitsha to have access to those. His writings are there, and his voices are there, and there are recordings and so on. So there's a lot to get going once a knowledgeable board of trustees is established. So we want the federal government to do that.
In fairness to President Buhari's administration, the inherent political differences and machinations regardless, the people of Anambra State are appreciative of the President's fellowship with the state government, even in the face of daunting national economic challenges and the effects on governance across the states of Nigeria.
They will give kudos again to His Excellency the Executive Governor of Anambra State. If they don't have good understanding, what we enjoy now will not come. It's because the Aboku had, he used his banking, his marketing experience to now know, oh, the best thing to do is to have a good marriage with the federal government. And the result is what we're seeing today. The result is what we are enjoying today, So I think they have a very cordial relationship, and we appreciate that.
Those that do not understand Buhari always criticize him, but I believe he's a man of action. There's never been anything he said he's going to do this side that he did not do. And governor has played a masterful politics in that. Even though he's of APGA and federal government of APC, the governor has masterfully created a good relationship, good working relationship with the center. And because of that, and because the center believes there is an action governor, is also doing very well. I'm sure if you give Uyobiano the money, he would have done this since a long time ago. And the relationship he has with Buhari has brought us a lot of beautiful things. And I know, the other day, a lot of people were criticizing him for going to Abuja and asking for more and appointments and other things. That's what a governor does for his people. And he's doing that and he's getting results. Take the second Niger bridge, take the reconstruction of the roads, and now the Zik Masoya. Again, I'm appreciative. And I know Anambrarians are very happy for what he has done for us. We're just asking him to do more. We'll leave a twist. To do more in other areas that he has not touched their lives. But we believe he has started and he's doing well.
It is reasonable to say that with the aggressive pace of work on the second Niger bridge, the impressive reconstruction of the Umunjan axis of the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway, and the successful completion of Zik Mausoleum in Onitsha, President Muhammadu Buhari is reaching out a hand of fellowship to Ndi Anambra and the rest of the Southeast region. It is also reasonable to say that with these important gestures from Mr. President, the people of the Southeast can be hopeful of a greater sense of belonging as President Buhari's second term in office gets underway. Once again, congratulations on your successful re-election, Mr. President.
We believe in togetherness. We'll build a land of progress. Lift the spirit of Anambra. Lift the